Hi, Danny. Hi, Don.
Hi,
Hi,
Mike.
Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Would you guys do me a favor and maybe Danny first state your name and the year you were born?
Danny Vladich, born 1938.
Thank you. And how about you, Don?
I'm Don Feher, and I was born 1946.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Well, Danny, you were born in Jerome, weren't you?
Yeah,
And it's in the house that you're living in.
right up upstairs.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. What year again was that?
1938.
Holy cow! So the
That
mine.
was a crucial time.
Yeah. Tell me about it. The mine was still going strong, I think.
Well,
at that
Hitler
time.
was trying to take the world.
Oh, that's right.
Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, well, what was it? What do you remember about your childhood here in Jerome?
Oh, a lot of things.
Did your dad work for the mine?
Yes, he was a miner. Him and my mother he came from Austria. She was from Croatia, Yugoslavia. They were immigrants.
Were you the firstborn, Danny?
No, my oldest sister, she died in Covina, California. Her name was Dorothy. She was a physical education teacher, and she got bone cancer in California. She died at 53.
You have another sister?
I got three more
Oh,
and a brother. Now I got a sister in Phoenix, Mary Lou. She was a school teacher 38 years down in Phoenix. I got another sister, Helen. She's over in Lancaster, California. She was a school teacher over there. And my brother is in Tucson. His name is Frank. And then I got a younger sister up in Montana. Her name is Joanne. She's the baby.
and all you lived in that little house.
Upstairs. Yes, we did. We used to sleep together. I slept with my oldest sister and Mary Lou on the same bed. Yeah.
And your father built that house?
The downstairs. That was built by the contractors for the United Verde Copper Company back in 1920-some.
Who built the upstairs?
That contractor for the United Verde. They were out of Los Angeles. And that house next to me, that stucco home.
So your dad was a miner.
Yes, he was. Before that, he worked in Gary, Indiana, in the steel foundry in Gary, Indiana. And then he met my mom in South Chicago. She was working in a delicatessen. He used to go across to South Chicago, so he started going with her. Hell, he could speak 4 languages,
No kidding.
my father.
What? So he decided to come to Jerome.
He brought her on the narrow gauge train, railroad, to Jerome.
Over from Prescott?
Yeah. They came all the way across from back east.
So he found out about all the work in Jerome and decided.
Well, he knew about it because he went up to Butte, Montana first. To Butte, that's where Senator Clark was from.
Oh, yeah.
He was a senator up in Butte.
That's right.
He started these mines. They were the richest copper mines in the world. Yeah.
So you had what was your childhood like? Did you feel like you had well, Jerome must have been.
I had
bustling.
everything. We didn't talk back to our parents like they do today. We were what you call a no-nonsense people. No nonsense. You had to do something. We all had a chore like on the farm to do something and keep working when we were kids. I used to carry coal and wood up those steps to my house in buckets.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did, before school.
You had a wooden coal stove.
We had a range, a big one. Wood, it was coal and wood.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother cooked everything on that.
Where'd you buy your groceries?
At the Miller grocery store in Jerome. There was a Miller building where that parking lot is across from the spirit room.
Yeah.
It was a 4-story or 5-story building. And that's where we did our purchasing our groceries.
Mm-hmm.
They had a library downstairs, a brokerage for stock holding downstairs. There was a bank of Arizona down there and everything.
Did you go to Clark Elementary School?
I went to Jerome Elementary, and then I went to Jerome Junior High School down on that hill, that big one. And then I went for a while to Clarkdale.
Mm-hmm.
They used to bus us down there on buses. And then from there, we moved to Ajo. That's another PD town. I went to work in the copper mine there. I was a diesel locomotive engineer. I run a train. They had a lot of trains. I worked there 10 years. And then I was drafted in the military. While I was working there, I was sent to Fort Ord, California for my basic training. And then from there, they wanted a lot of guys in the airborne. I was in the 101st Airborne in Germany.
No kidding.
I was a paratrooper.
What year was that?
1961. Cold War. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I jumped out of the C-130s, Globe Masters. I was a sergeant. In less than a year, I made buck sergeant in the airborne. I did.
How many jumps did you make?
42. I was a master jumper. 42 jumps.
Was it fun?
Oh, shit, boy. It was
scary?
It was dangerous. I was never scared because I ran all over these mountains in Jerome when I was a young boy. We used to climb the rooftops and play up on the roofs of the houses, everything.
So there were a lot of kids when you were a
Oh,
kid?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
Were you?
Did you get in trouble? Were you a good boy?
No, I surely didn't because my dad used to talk to me.
Uh-huh.
He never hit me or spanked me. He said, "Come here, Danny." He would set me on his knee, and he said, "Now look, I'm going to show you how to do it." He was a good father, and my mother was a good mother. Never hit me.
Hmm.
He was built like an ox.
I'll bet.
No, he was tough. He taught me a lot of good things. And he said, "You don't go with everybody." He used the word from the East. He said, "I don't want you to go with every Tom, Dick, and Harry."
Yeah?
That's how he talked.
Mm-hmm.
He was grown up with a lot of Yugoslavians, Polacks, Irish people back east.
Yeah.
Irishmen. They were policemen. Irish. Yeah.
So you were a good boy in Jerome. You didn't get in trouble.
I never did. His people today, they get in too much trouble and then they have to sit on it. We used to have a saying, if you make a blister, you got to sit on it. You got to learn the hard way.
Yeah, take responsibility, huh?
You better believe it.
Yeah. What did you kids do around in Jerome?
Well, we played softball. We hiked all over the mountains. We used to have a pack sack. We would take a lunch with us. And you know how the water comes to Jerome now?
Yeah.
It's under the highway. It used to be up on the mountains on wooden trestles. And then we would get a plug and we would drink water up there when we were hiking. We would hike, you know where Allen Spring is?
Yeah.
We used to go up to Allen's in Walnut Springs.
Mm-hmm.
That's above the Verde Central. We had all kinds of fun.
Is that where the swimming pool was?
Yes. Yes, it was.
How'd you get to the swimming pool?
By the just like I told you, over those trestles.
You walked all the way on the trestles to the
Yes.
swimming pool.
Yes, we did.
That's 2 miles.
About 2 miles. We were really tough. And boy, I'm going to tell you, those school teachers, if you got out of line in school, they would paddle you, boy. They would spank you.
Or tell your father, huh?
They'd call him up. You know what he told them? He said, if he's a bad boy there, you take care of him there, and when he comes home, I'll take care of him. But he never had to do me. No.
So Jerome was a pretty busy place back then, I bet.
Yes, it was.
Were you allowed to go downtown and see all
Well, we had to go to town, but we had to be in the houses at 9 o'clock at night. They had what they called a curfew. You know how they blow that whistle now before noon?
Yeah.
You had to be home, in your home, because the policeman, they called him a constable. He would take you to your parents, and then they would fine the parents. They would stick a fine on them if the kids were caught outside.
Yeah, I heard if the kids misbehaved at school, they'd threaten to fire father from the mines.
That's right. They did.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yes, they did. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was.
So did your dad, what did he do in the mine, Danny?
Well, he was first a miner underground, which went down 6,000 feet down below. And then when he got quite a few years there, he was over the ore shipment down to Clarkdale to the smelter.
He drive the train?
He did first, up here in Jerome. And then they put him as a foreman. They call him a shift boss. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Did you used to go down to the smelter?
I used to ride that train sometimes. I would go down to see my dad. You know down below where the 500 is?
Yeah.
We would hike down there, all the kids, and then they would take us on the train for a ride.
That was okay then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You take a ride to Clarkdale?
Down to Clarkdale. They were steam locomotives, big ones.
Would they take you back to Jerome then?
Oh, they'd bring us back.
that went through a tunnel, didn't it?
They went through a Josephine tunnel. Yeah.
And where'd it come out?
Down below, hit Jerome, down by Clarkdale. Yeah.
That must have been pretty exciting for a kid.
Oh, it was.
Better than a ride at Disneyland, I bet.
Well, like I told you, everything is money. Money, money, money. Money. Money isn't everything.
Well, it was to Mr. Clark.
You gotta have a warm heart and do it right, not a cold heart. There's a lot of people today that are cold-hearted.
Danny, do you remember Clarence Beale?
Yes.
Down Beale Road down there?
Yes, I do.
He was an engineer, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Mining engineer. Clarence. Yeah.
What do you remember about him?
Well, they all talked with sense, and like I said, they were called no-nonsense people.
Yeah.
No fooling around.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember Boney Hughes?
Yes, I do. That's where Tracy lives, in that big house. Bonnie Hughes lived there with his wife. He worked somewhere up in town. I think he was something like an accountant
Uh-huh.
up in town. That's where Tracy lives right now.
Boney smoked a corncob pipe?
Corn cob. He was I think a Scotchman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else do you remember?
Oh, well,
McMillan? Remember McMillan?
I knew John McMillan and his wife. Him and his father were the morticians. Yeah.
Where was that mortuary, Danny?
Well, you know where that ditch is, where you go down on the other side of the town hall, where that water comes down?
Right on School Street?
Yeah, School Street.
That gray house on School
Yeah.
Street?
Carol had that.
Yeah, she still does. She's moving back to town, though.
Yeah, she had the Starfire shop.
Yes.
And that used to be a mortuary.
It was a mortuary.
Okay.
Yeah, her house down on School Street.
School Street.
Yeah.
That's right. Carol, I knew Carol a long time. She wasn't married. She lived with a guy from California, and they had a son. And then he got older. He studied to be a doctor. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, they had a little boy, but they weren't married. They were just living together.
Do you remember uptown in Jerome? Remember Crotinger?
Yes, I do. He had a men's store. It was called the Toggery. Harry Crotinger. Yeah. He sold clothes for the miners, shoes, shirts, pants. He came from New York,
Uh-huh.
he and his wife. And then when they closed Jerome, he moved down to a place down by San Manuel, Arizona. It's called Mammoth, down by Tucson. And he retired there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harry Crotinger.
What was his wife's name?
I don't remember, but they were short people,
Yeah.
real short. And they used to go to the movies. They had a theater on the other side of the English Kitchen on that corner. It was called the Ritz Theater. Joe Peckridge's brother had that theater. It would belong to the Peckridge family.
No kidding.
Yes, it was called the Ritz. Yeah, we used to go there to see the movies. And then when we got out of the movies on Saturday, we would kind of react what we saw in the movie. Now they had one movie was called The West Side Kids. They had a guy in there, his name was Spanky. And we would play that up in Jerome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So when you were a kid, Danny, they say at the height, Jerome had 15,000 people.
They did.
Was it when you were a kid? Was it that full?
It was after a while they did have 15,000, but the stock market went down with the price of copper.
Do you remember what year that was?
That was in the 40s.
Okay.
And then everybody moved out. A lot of people took off with their families and headed for California. They went to live over there. New Mexico, California, Texas.
How old were you then when the price went down?
Let's see, I was born in 38. I was about 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but your dad kept working at the mine?
Yes.
He kept his job?
Yeah, my dad he worked during the Great Depression. There was a Great Depression in this country. People were starving to death. They didn't have jobs, and they were starving. They died. It wasn't a hunky-dory time. It was awful. It was an awful period. And then we went to war. Then the war broke out in Europe. They drafted a lot of boys that were copper miners. They sent them to the war. And a lot of them didn't come back. They were killed. A lot of them.
Danny, did you work for the UVX and
my first
the
job,
extension, both mines, or just the one mine?
My first job, when I was 14 years old, I was a water boy. I used to take water with a Chinaman to the miners. We would supply them with drinking water.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I started working for a short period. I worked on top. I wasn't old enough to go down below. You had to be 21 years old to work underground. And then, like I said, we moved to Ajo, Arizona when they closed the mines. My dad was transferred to Ajo,
What year was that he's transferred?
1953.
Okay.
And then there he was a machinist in the machine shop.
So, Danny, you lived here till how old?
Well, off and on. I was a young boy, and then I came back after the military. My mother was crippled up with osteoarthritis, rheumatism arthritis. I couldn't get a job anywhere. I was a welder. So I came and took care of her for 15 years.
Here in
I
Jerome.
lived with her in that house.
Oh,
What
wow.
year was that?
1984.
You came back.
I came back.
Okay.
Yeah, came back. She was all crippled up from hard work, taking care of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what she used to tell me? When I was a grown man already, if I was going to go somewhere, she said, "Now, Danny, you be a good boy." I was a boy to her.
Yes.
I
Always a boy.
was always a boy, and she was mother, and my dad was father. And then I went to the Catholic Church. I was baptized in that church up there. I served with a priest, and Andy Peterson did. I served for 16 years as an altar boy at the masses of the early masses. And then I served at funerals, weddings, and everywhere.
Is that the old red brick?
Yeah, that's above the town,
Yeah.
above Grapes.
Right next to UVX building.
You know where Grapes restaurant is?
Yes, sir.
Up above.
Yeah, that one. Okay.
You and Andy Peterson pretty good friends?
Yeah, we were until we got older, and then we split up. He was an agent for quite a few years up here for Phillips Dodge. He took care of the property.
Yeah.
And then he married his first wife. I don't know, they split up, and his two children had some kind of disease. His first two kids, they died. And then he remarried to a woman named Judy. She works now at the hospital in Cottonwood. Judy.
So you played as a kid with Andy?
Oh yeah,
Did you play on the burros in town?
yes we did.
How'd you get a burro?
Well, they used to bring them to the 300 up there where they have that parking lot, and they would issue out a burro to each kid. They said, "Now give the people a ride." We did it for nothing, no charge.
Where did you do that?
Oh, all over town.
What streets?
We went down behind the post office to the Mexican town. You know how you go down to the state park?
Yeah.
And then we went down to the gulch, down below the gulch. Yeah,
And you used to give kids rides on those burros.
yes we did.
I remember riding on a burro when I was
Oh,
little.
yeah.
Really?
I don't know if it was you or Andy that helped me onto the burro, but up and down Center Street.
So this was just to give the burros some exercise, or
Well,
why
that's
did
what
they do that?
they first used the burros to haul wood, timbers to the mines. They would cut them up from the mountain up there, which is called Wood Chute Mountain. It's way up above the 300, that big mountain up there.
Yeah.
It was called Wood Chute. And then they carried wood to the furnaces of the smelter. See, the first little smelter was up on the 300, the smelter. And then they moved down to Clarkdale where they built a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of burros down in Clarkdale, too.
Oh, hell yeah. The Mexicans brought them from Mexico. Mexican people.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, they used them to do the work, burros and mules for the mines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now there was a mule or burro barn down behind the old Jerome Hotel, wasn't there? Down on
Yeah, down below.
yeah.
I don't know those streets from now on because new people came in here and they changed a lot of those street names.
Did they?
Yeah, they changed them.
What are some of the changes that they changed?
I don't know. That's
You remember
that's
some of
what
the-
I heard. They changed the names.
Remember the old street names?
There was old ones. They were from England, Europe, and different places. Because like I said, the people here were all immigrants that came to work in the copper mines. Immigrants.
What was Christmas like in Jerome?
Oh, beautiful. They would set up a tree in town across from Paul and Jerry's bar, and then we would decorate the tree, and then they would have a sack full of fruit, candy, and presents for the children. The mining company gave it to the people. They gave it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the street lights in Jerome at
Yeah.
Christmas time? What'd they do?
They used to decorate the street lights. They put colored lamps in them.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And you drive up from Clarkdale,
Yeah.
and all the street lights would be different colors, like a
Different
Christmas
colors.
tree.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I remember.
Well, that's like I told you, what took over the world right now is greed. When they asked Jesus Christ, they asked him, "Are you king of this world?" He said, "Not of this world." And they didn't like him because he had his own, he was a minister of his own. He was a Christian. He wasn't a Catholic. And then the Roman people got him and nailed him to a cross. The Roman army got him and put him up on a cross. They nailed him by hand through his hands with spikes.
Everybody go to church in Jerome?
Everybody.
Is that right?
They had a few churches. They had the Catholic. You know where the Haunted Hamburger is?
Yeah.
Across there, they had the Episcopalian Church. They had the Methodist Church, where it still is. And they had another one down there. It was called the Powder Box Church.
Yeah.
It was made of powder boxes.
Do you remember the minister that was in the Powder Box Church?
Gonzales.
Gonzales. You remember him?
Yes, I do. He was a Spaniard.
Oh.
And so was Father John up in the Catholic Church. They call him Father John. He was kind of goofy. He used to get on the kids all the time. And then when he died, he was kind of like a miser. He used to hoard money that the people gave him. They found checks that he never cashed, money stashed away.
Which church?
He was scared.
Which church was he pastor of?
Catholic,
The one where you
where
were in Aldo.
where I served with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonzales of the Powder Box Church.
Powder box.
He was also a barber.
He was a barber. He came out of the army. He was in the army, and then he built that church by himself.
And he built it with old
The old powder boxes, the
leftover
dynamite boxes.
And that was for the Mexican community
The Mexican.
It was a Methodist church, I believe.
Yeah.
Mexican Methodist.
Yeah,
down there.
that's a little clique
Yeah.
religion. Most Mexicans are Catholics.
Yeah. I remember Gonzales
Yeah.
came up when my grandfather was very old and couldn't leave the house.
No.
Came up and would give him a shave and a haircut.
The pastor.
The pastor would come up to his house. Yeah.
A blessing and a haircut.
It was. It was very, very, very nice.
Father John, the one I was with, he wanted to send me to be a priest. He wanted to send me to Vatican City, Rome, when I helped him.
Did you think about it?
I didn't want to do it.
No?
No, because you got to live alone then as a priest, and he was living like a recluse spider. He never came out. He didn't have manners. Now, like if a woman had a baby and she went to church that morning and the baby start crying, he was up there giving the gospel, and then he would turn around and real roughly he would say, "Hey, take that baby out of here." He didn't have no respect because a baby's going to cry.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was rude. He was a rude man. But I got along with him.
What'd you do on 4th of July in Jerome?
We went to Prescott, Arizona to the rodeos over in Prescott. Over here we set up booths with concessions downtown Jerome. And we played games right here. And then in the afternoon we went to Prescott. Everybody went over there. They had a lot of cowboys in Prescott, Arizona.
Isn't that the oldest
Yeah.
rodeo in the country, or just Arizona?
It's the oldest rodeo in this country.
How'd you get over there?
A lot of people had cars.
Did you? You remember
Yeah.
driving over there with
They
your father?
they
Your
would-
father have a car?
My father never owned an automobile. But we went with Nick Vladich, the guy that lived over here. Like I told you, you guys didn't know him. He was a Croatian family. And he would take us everywhere. We would go to the Grand Canyon, up there, Flagstaff, everywhere. Yeah.
Did you go fishing as a boy?
To Oak Creek.
Yeah?
Yes, I did.
All the way to Oak Creek.
Oh, boy.
Any fishing in the Verde River?
Well, right now it's too muddy
Yeah.
and it's too polluted.
But you went to Oak Creek.
Oak Creek.
Did you go camping up there?
Yes, I did.
Where did you camp in Oak Creek?
Indian Gardens in Sedona.
Yeah?
They called it Indian Gardens. They had a roller rink there where you could roller skate. I don't know if you remember the roller skates. All the kids had roller skates.
But not in Jerome.
Yes, we did.
How did you roller skate in Jerome?
Down at the building down in the Gulch. It was a schoolhouse before.
And they turned it into a roller skating rink in the Gulch.
Did you know Lozanos?
Yeah?
Their family owned all that after.
So there was a roller skating rink in the Gulch.
There was.
I'll be darned.
They played music. And then we would get our roller skates and have a good time. Girls and boys together.
Uh-huh.
There was no way to go molest a girl or a woman. There was nothing of that. Like it is today.
Everybody behaved themselves, huh?
Sure. I told you, I used to sleep with my sisters on the same bed.
How'd you get to the Gulch? You walked to the Gulch and walk all the way back?
We walked down.
That's a pretty long walk.
Yes, it is. Then we went to school, to the high school there on that hill, that big red one.
Yeah.
We used to walk up, down there and back up.
No school bus for you.
Well, they had a bus, but we wanted to do it. We built our legs up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the other day, there was another shooting in Virginia Beach, Florida. A guy killed 12 innocent people. They're sick. They're mentally ill. I went in the military. I was in the military to stop all that. I told you I was an airborne ranger in the 101st Airborne in Augsburg, Bavaria. And we used to go in there to help people, take care of them.
Did you learn to speak German?
A little bit. Just a little bit, because when I got over there, they were speaking English, all the people.
Uh-huh.
It was required in the schoolhouses. English. I knew a little Croatian, like when you say, how are you? You say, kako ste, kako ste. And then the guy says, dobro, that's fine.
So that's your heritage, right, Annie?
Yeah. No, we had a better society, I'm going to tell you. It was real good. It was a clean, no-nonsense people. Everybody today's a quitter. If they don't like something, they quit. You go somewhere, like to a doctor, to the receptionist, you say, I'm here for my appointment. They tell you, the girl's not here. She went on vacation. Down at Aho, I worked 26 straight months without a day off in the copper mines.
That when you were a welder?
I was a locomotive engineer at Aho.
Oh,
When I was a welder, it was the same way up in Morenci, Arizona. There was no fooling around, buddy. We built this country. We built it. And we were well respected by everybody.
did you belong to the union?
And I sure did. They used to take it out of my pay every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just like Medicare and Social Security, we paid into it. That's why we got it today. The ones that were employed were covered by insurance, medical insurance.
I live right below you, Danny,
I know.
in Reber's house.
Reber,
And Reber was a geologist for the mines.
geologist.
And you remember Reber as a little boy?
Yes, I do. I told you he kind of went goofy a little bit. At last, he didn't like people. He didn't like them.
Yeah.
No, because he did everything for the mining companies. He found the water. He was a geologist. And they didn't take care of him like they should have when he got old. So he kind of went a little goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Did you used to go down and see him?
I go down and talk to him.
What'd you talk to him about?
Different things. He would give me candy.
Yeah.
He would give me candy and stuff. He said, "You're a good boy."
You said, I know. My mom told me that.
So, I knew him.
Did you used to tease him?
Well, once in a while,
Uh-huh.
I would kind of cut up a little with him.
Yeah.
But he just took it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And the way I do it today, just like Muhammad Ali, that boxer, you know him?
Sure.
Cassius Clay?
Yeah.
He died of Parkinson's. And he said, when you get a runaround in life, just roll with the punches.
Yeah.
That's what Muhammad Ali said.
That's good advice.
It's good advice.
Do you remember Julie Perkins?
Yes, I do. They had a cattle ranch over at Perkinsville.
And her aunt,
She married young Jerry, the girl, the young boy.
Oh, you're talking about Silky Perkins.
Yeah.
Silky
Yeah.
Perkins.
They
Now-
divorced.
Now, Julie lives on Center Street now.
I think so, yeah.
And remember her aunt?
I knew her dad and mother. I knew the old Perkins. They were cowboys.
Did you know Elizabeth Niles?
She was kind of
Elizabeth-
like a recluse.
Elizabeth Niles, she lived on Center Street.
Yeah, I knew her mother.
Uh-huh.
I used to chop wood for her.
Yeah. And you knew my grandfather, Joe Larson.
Yes, I knew Joe Larson. He was a big man with, I don't know which mining company. He was like an assessor or something like that. Joe.
Yeah. Did you work for him?
No,
You pull weeds in his yard?
I used, not him. I worked for a doctor up at the surgeon home,
Oh, yeah.
Dr. McKinley.
Uh-huh.
He came out of the Air Force. He was a doctor in the Air Force. Then I worked for him.
Laura Williams. Do you remember Laura?
I knew Laura.
Yeah.
She worked at the general office. She was like a secretary.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Andy, her husband. And then she had a daughter, Margie Williams. She got killed in an automobile wreck up by Winslow later on in life.
So I just want to interject here for
Yeah.
people who watch this. We're talking to two men who were both born in Jerome.
Oh,
So Don, you were a neighbor of Danny's.
Yeah, I lived in Jerome for the year of 1946
yeah.
when I
Okay.
was born. My father was in the service, and my mother was staying with her parents in Jerome on Center Street.
Center.
And that's
Yeah.
why I was born, because she was waiting for him to get out of the service. And I was born in the hotel, or the hospital up at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the Grand Hotel is
The
today.
Grand Hotel, that's right. And so I moved back to Jerome 4 years ago with my wife. And now I know Danny, my neighbor.
But you didn't know each other back in the day.
Well-
No.
You left.
Well,
pretty
I was
early.
only a year or two
Yeah,
old.
Yeah.
And Danny's 8 years older than I am. She was
That's
only
right.
about 9 or 10 when I was here. But I used to come and visit my grandparents.
Yeah.
And it may have been Danny who gave me rides on the burros up and
On the
down.
burros.
Because all the little kids would line up, and the bigger kids, like Danny, would come along. He said, "Okay,
That's
you get in the line. It's not your turn yet. Help us up," and we'd walk up the hill to the bend, and he'd walk back down. Okay, who's next?
I'll be darned.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
And so now we meet again, Danny.
Now my dad, even though he was a miner, he was like a philosopher. He would talk to the kids. He said, now when you get a job, you go to work, it's what you put into it, what you get out of it. That's what he said. And he said, don't go with every Tom, Dick, and Henry. You're going to get into trouble. Because every generation, there might be one bad apple, there could be a lot of bad apples. And he said, don't mingle with everybody. I was more like an independent person. That's how I am now. I'm independent.
You chose your friends carefully,
That's right. Wisely.
wisely. Yeah.
Because everybody, not everybody, but most people today, if you know them, you get with them and you help them, and then later on they don't even know you. They're not warm-hearted people. You got to have a heart. That's what it takes.
You remember Don Walsh?
Yes, I did. His father was my doctor, Dr. Walsh.
Yeah.
Donald was a good guy. He was in Korea in the army.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the artillery. He was a captain in the artillery.
Did you and Don used to play as kids together?
He was older than me,
Oh,
quite a bit years. I used to go with him and talk to him
yeah.
when he got older. Yeah, he was all right. See, we used to visit people on Sunday. And like I said, after church, we would go up to Mingus Mountain and have a picnic. All the kids and the families and everybody. And then we would play softball up on top. There's some fields up there. We had a good time. Yeah. We didn't try to hurt nobody. No. Nope.
Did you play baseball?
Yeah, I did. I played football in school too. I was a quarterback for the Jerome Muckers.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
quarterback.
Quarterback.
Did you play Clarkdale?
Played Clarkdale, Cottonwood, Camp Verde, Flagstaff, Prescott, Winslow, Seligman, a lot of schools.
Yeah.
You guys have a good team?
Oh, one of the best. We were known as the best in northern Arizona,
No kidding.
the Jerome Muckers.
You were the tough guys, huh? You're hard to beat.
I was a tough guy in the military, boy. I had to be. They trained me in Germany. If we went to war, I was trained to be dropped behind enemy lines. I was a reconnaissance sergeant. I had a radio on my back. I would direct us 8 guys in my squad. I had to coach them what to do. I was a squad leader. E5 sergeant, they call it buck sergeant. Yeah.
When were you discharged?
Well, first I got out in '63,
Yeah.
and then for 2 summers, I had to report to summer camp in Barstow, California, training in the summer for 2 weeks.
For reserves, huh?
Reserves, ready reserves. Barstow, California. That's out by Death Valley. And see, I was trained for Europe, which is a cold country, and then I had to go to the hot country. One extreme to the other. But I did it.
Where'd you go after the service?
Back to work at Oahu in the open pit copper mine as a locomotive engineer.
And you were down there for how long?
10 years there, and then I went up, you know where Morenci is?
Yes.
I went up there for 15 years. I was an arc welder, heavy duty welder for Phelps Dodge in Morenci. Altogether, like I said, I had 28 years with the reserves and everything in the Army. It counted. See, my time counted by going in the military for retirement.
Yeah.
So they counted it to me. And right now I'm living on a fixed income. I'm retired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fixed income. I can't put out a lot of money to a lot of things because I have my home, I have my bills, and I have my expenses. And that's why I got to watch myself. Yeah.
So you came back to Jerome to help your mom
Yes, I did.
after Morenci?
Yeah, mother.
Yeah. And then, so you've been here ever since you came
Ever
back?
since
And that was when again, Danny? I'm sorry, 1984?
1984.
Yeah.
I went out to California with my brother-in-law when my sister died, the oldest one, and he was an alcoholic. He used to drink vodka. And in school, he was in special education. He was a teacher. And he died. He died quite a while after my sister died. He had what you call cirrhosis of his liver. He died. He was addicted to liquor. I told him, come on, cut that out. You can't tell those guys what to do. Because like today, buddy, when you talk to people, you don't know what's going on in their mind.
No.
That's right. They don't think like you do. They don't think like me.
You happy to come back to Jerome?
Oh, boy. That was my proven grounds
It was a little different when you got back in 1984 than...
with all the new people.
Yes.
A lot of them were on government subsidy. They were getting access, subsidization, because they didn't work. And a lot of them didn't want to go to work all over the country. See, when I was in there, they used to draft you in the Army. They had a draft. No more. All they got now is missiles, atomic weapons. But you can't use all that. You can't use all those hydrogen bombs and stuff like that. See, it's dangerous.
Danny, did you meet some of the new people in 1984 that came here and
There
started
wasn't
businesses?
too many new people then. There was a few old timers.
Yeah.
And everybody was looking for something. They came to visit Jerome, and then they said, I'm going to settle down there in Jerome.
Did you meet say Richard Martin or?
Richard Martin was a mayor.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. He was a good guy. Richard.
Yeah. Well, I interviewed him a while back, and he told me about him and a bunch of other guys working on the water lines to fix them.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of the infrastructure.
There was hippies here. I don't know if you knew
Yeah.
the hippies. They used to sit around and smoke marijuana. They took LSD. And they came to Jerome and they just used to lay around. But then a few of them got to get to where they changed the water line. They were engineers. They had education. And then they changed the water line to put it under the highway. Up above by Allen Springs.
Yeah, they got a grant, I think.
They got it, yeah. They got a grant from the government. But whatever you do, I tell the young students today, whatever you do, be careful because there's an audience out there. They're going to see you. There's an audience.
Did you work on the water lines?
No, I didn't.
No.
I sure didn't. No.
You've been up to the springs?
I used to go up there and see what they were doing. I would walk up there.
Yeah. How many springs did you go to?
Quite a few. I went way over to Allen Springs. That's where you go on that road from the gulch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes way up under Mingus Mountain. And that's the one Reber found that one too.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have a deal. It was made of wood. I don't know what you call it. And then when he would put it there, it would quiver. I don't know what they called it. He was an old-time guy. Like during the days of the gold rush.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys are gone, partner.
They're gone.
You got to look to the future. There's still a future, but you got to be very careful what you do. Or like you know what Napoleon said? You know who Napoleon was? He was a big general of the army. He said, "Only the weak shall survive, but only the weak shall perish."
Is that what he said?
Yes, he did. And then they're away now too. They disappeared because they didn't do it right. There was a lot of vice, a lot of greed, and that's what's happening to the world today. Drugs. Everybody's got to go to drugs. That's a downfall of the people. I never used drugs. Even in the military, I didn't need them. I didn't use them.
So what do you think of Jerome today?
Well, I just mind my own business. I'm retired and take care of my own business. I think it's a very good place, but too many city people, like from California, they keep moving in. A lot of motorcycles, a lot of noise.
A lot of motorcycles.
We're supposed to have a noise ordinance up here
Yeah.
because this was a retirement community, and they keep coming. Now I'm going to tell you something. if you were driving an automobile years ago and you were intoxicated, I mean being drunk, they would take you to jail. And they're driving drunk today and having a lot of accidents. You hear all those sirens every day. Sirens?
There are a lot of sirens.
Those people are intoxicated and then they have accidents. When I grew up, they put you in jail, took your license away. And there's people driving today, they have no license. And they're still driving vehicles. See?
How do you get down the hill, Danny?
With Gerard, my friend.
To get your groceries?
I go everywhere with him. He's a retired counselor teacher. He was up on the Indian reservation.
Mm-hmm.
He and his wife Lynn.
Where-
She was a school teacher.
Where do they live?
Down below Town Hall. They lived where the Williams family lived. I can't remember her first name. There was a Williams family. So Gerard retired and his wife in a place up north called Shinley. It's north of Holbrook, Arizona. Navajo Indian Reservation. He remodeled his home.
Mm-hmm.
He's retired. He came from New Jersey.
Do you remember a family down on the Hogback named Harrison?
It sounds familiar.
He worked as an accountant. They're
Yeah.
in that one of the houses around the lower. Had a couple
on
of
the
kids.
lower.
King. They had a Joe.
Yeah,
Joe, who was born about the same time you were.
yeah,
down there.
probably.
And Alma
Yeah, there was a lot of families.
down there. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of people up here.
So when you moved back to take care of your mom, there was a whole new community here.
Quite a bit.
You had to make new friends.
Well, like I said, I'm a loner. I'm a secure guy. I'm independent. I don't mix with a lot of people because I was told not to by my dad. He said they'll undermine you. A lot of people, they're always looking to get you. They're troublemakers. A lot of people today, a lot of them don't have education. A lot of them just, I call them smart alecks.
When did your dad die?
Let's see. It was in the 80s.
Is he living in the house up there?
Oh, yeah. My mother, too. I talk to people today. I know they're on alcohol or drugs when I talk to them, because when I'm talking to them, they're like they're asleep. They sit there and they meditate. They can't register because their brain is gone. You got to take care of that brain.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. And drugs is not the way to go.
You tell the kids that?
I try to talk to them sometimes. I said, make something of yourself and get with it. We're leaving this country to a lot of young people. They're going to be the backbone of the country. I told them, get with it. Quit fooling around.
Did you ever work for the town of Jerome?
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
I never did.
No.
No.
Did you ever join the historical society?
I never did.
No?
No. I never did.
So Danny, back in the mining days when you were a kid, I mean, the popular history is that Jerome was a wild drinking town with whorehouses and all kinds of stuff
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Do you remember it being a wild place? Like,
I do. Yeah, I do. They call those places like, what's that guy's name? He died. He had the House of Joy.
John.
Yeah.
John Dempsey.
John Dempsey.
That guy was in the army in the Second World War. He was under General Patton, was a tough general. He was a tank commander in Europe and Africa, North Africa. John Dempsey. He made a restaurant of the House of Joy.
Yes.
Did you used to eat there?
I did. You had to make reservations.
Yeah.
I go there once in a while. Yeah.
Do you remember John?
Oh, yeah. He was a good friend of mine because we were brothers. We were military men.
Yeah. He was a funny man. He told a lot of funny stories.
He rode a bicycle all over town.
Yeah, and up and down the mountain too. He was a strong guy.
Yes, he was, like me. I survive everything because I take Jesus in my heart. I do what he wishes me to do, and that's it. I told you I used to be a Catholic, and then they caught a lot of those personnel in the Catholic faith. They were molesting young boys. They were sodomizing kids. And the personnel higher up knew about it, and they didn't do nothing about it. Can you imagine sodomizing a child?
No?
They were doing it. They went sick. And the money went to their head, and that's what they start doing. I'm not a Catholic. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Yes, I am, through Jesus Christ.
Good for you.
That's right. He's my guidance. Yes, he is. He took a lot of punishment when they put him up on the cross. They nailed him up there. You know, through his hands. God. But
So what
what you gotta do today, you take the bad with the good. See, take the bad with the good and mind your own business. That's the policy. Yeah,
Well, good for you, Danny.
that's right. I could have been an instructor through education. I didn't go to college. I went to high school, graduate from high school, and I went to trade school in Phoenix. But I don't have no college education. I didn't need it. It costs a lot of money to go to college today, if you go.
Did you ever get married, Danny?
I did one time to a Mexican gal down in Agua Prieta, Mexico.
Yeah?
That's south of Douglas.
How did you find yourself there?
I used to go down there on a weekend to Agua Prieta to have a good time in the dancing nightclubs. Pastime. She was an entertainer singer. Her name was Alicia. She came from Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
She was a lot younger than me.
Is she pretty?
Oh, beautiful.
I'll bet.
She had a voice. She was a good girl, boy.
She was a performer? A singer?
Performer.
And you met her at one of the clubs where you
At
went to dance?
a nightclub. I was sitting there by myself, and after she sang a song, she came to my table, and she told me in Spanish, "Por favor, yo puedo sentar contigo?" I said, "Bueno," and then we got acquainted. I speak a little Spanish.
Yeah.
That's right.
How long did you know her?
8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Were you married 8 years?
I was married six years.
You brought her back to
I
the
tried
States?
to immigrate her,
Uh-huh.
and then she didn't want to come to the United States, so then she went back to Mexico City. She left.
Did you go with her to Mexico City?
I did one time.
Did you like Mexico City?
There's a lot of Americans, all kinds of people over there.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody. It's a big city. 30 million people. They have a monorail, a train that goes up above. It's called a monorail. The Japanese put it in there for them.
But you didn't want to stay there, huh?
Hell no, I'm an American, buddy.
And she didn't want to come back with you?
No. She didn't like the system of what they were doing here. She said the Americanos, the Americans go into the foreign lands, they steal everything from the poor people, and they pay them peanuts. And that's what they're doing. Greed. Look at the oil situation.
Did she ever come to Jerome with you?
I brought her one time.
Yeah.
And when was this, Danny? How old were you when you married her, Alicia?
I was 26 years old.
And so that was when you were working down in Morenci.
Yeah, in Morenci.
Okay. And so you never thought about getting married again?
No, I didn't. I couldn't find another woman that was like me. They all go everywhere. They go what we call, they go like a chicken with a head cut off. I wouldn't marry an American girl a woman if you gave her to me. They're all after money. Now there's some here in Jerome, they're a little different. I don't think they're just after money. They had to learn the hard way.
Are you saying you got your eye on somebody?
No, I'm too old. I'm too old to go into that.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied the way I am. And there's a lot of unhappy people today in this country. They're unhappy. They are.
Why do you think that is?
Well, they commit suicide. They go out and kill innocent people. They're quitters. Whatever they're doing, they quit. They're quitters. They didn't have the old school training.
Yeah, we don't have much meaning
Meaning,
left in our lives these days.
no.
Yeah.
They're unhappy. And then they take the alcohol. They go and drink all the time. They take drugs. I told you.
Danny, does your sister come up and visit you?
Sure. Every so often. My brother-in-law is a good guy.
Yeah.
He spent 4 years in the Navy. He was on a destroyer battleship. He's from Oahu, where I worked down there.
Where do they live?
Awatuki, down by Phoenix.
Okay.
They're retired.
That's Mary Lou.
Mary Lou.
She comes to visit you
Oh,
once
yeah.
a week or once a month?
Every so often when they can come.
Mm-hmm. You call her on the phone?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that grew up, they didn't have parents. They didn't have a mother. They didn't have a father.
In Jerome?
Everywhere. America's full of it. They don't have no guidance of what to do. I knew a guy, he didn't have a father. He didn't know who his mother was. He was born out of wedlock. They weren't married. You call that illegitimate. They don't have no guidance.
What about the kids in Jerome?
I don't know too much about that. Like I told you, I'm independent.
They had mothers and fathers in Jerome.
Well, some did.
The father got killed in the mine, and they have to be raised by their mother, huh?
A lot of them. Vice versa. Either the father or mother died. You know, there's people today, no matter what you say to them, forget it. It don't register. It don't sink in that head. And they think money is everything. I'm going to tell you, it's not everything.
So
Money is a big troublemaker.
So Danny, when you were a kid, there were lots of immigrants from everywhere, huh? There were.
We're all made up of foreigners.
Yeah.
United States.
Did you have did people the Irish, the Europeans, Mexicans, did they all kind of have their own neighborhood, or did they get along?
Well, they had segregation up here.
They did.
Sure, against the Mexicans and the Indians.
Where'd the Indians live, Danny?
Down in Mexican town, I told you. Down below the post office.
The Indians and the Mexicans lived there?
That's right.
Where'd the Italians live?
With us, everywhere.
And you're Croatian, right?
In Yugoslav.
I'm half Austrian, half Croatian.
Aha. Were there more other families from the same
Oh yeah.
area?
Polish people, Italian people, Danish people, German people, Polish, everybody.
Where'd the Irish live?
Everywhere. They were policemen,
And the Swedes?
Swedes. See, a policeman in those days, if you were an Irishman, they put you as a policeman. You didn't carry a gun. You carried a nightstick on your hip. They called it a billy club. And if somebody got out of line, they would pop you with that and take you to jail.
Who was the police in Jerome when you were little?
There was a man named Tom Cantrell. He was from Texas. He was a Texas Ranger, Tom. And his wife was a school teacher.
Where'd they live?
Down below you, down in the house down below.
On 5th Street?
I think it's first or second, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
You know something? If I knew everything, buddy, I'd be a smart son of a bitch. That's right.
Well, you know a lot.
I don't know everything.
You know a lot, though.
Yeah, but I got
Remember
a
a lot.
good will.
Yeah.
I ask a lot of people, they ask me, do you know this? Or do you know that? I said, none of your business. Are you writing a book? They're nosy.
Sort of.
They're nothing but nosy and nosy and nosy. I said, take a walk.
Well, you sit down at the post office many times during the week.
I have a right to.
No, I know, and I see you talking to tourists and the local people.
I'm
Do you
waiting
enjoy
for
that?
I'm waiting for my mail.
Ah,
It's put up by 11:30.
You used to get mail twice a day in Jerome.
We used to.
no kidding.
My grandmother used to tell me she's waiting for the afternoon mail.
That's right.
Twice a day they'd get it.
That's
They don't
unbelievable.
deliver mail up here to the homes. You got to go get it.
What's your post office box, Danny?
What?
What's your post office box?
924.
Has that been the post office box?
That's been an old one.
That your parents had the same one
Right.
for all those years?
All those years.
Holy smokes.
My grandmother's post office box was 144.
That's right.
I remember the letters that came in the mail.
That's
And
right.
when we moved here, I asked, could I have 144? She
Yeah.
says, no, someone's got that. And she looked, she said, how about 244?
That's
And I
right.
said, that's close enough.
Yeah.
Hey, Danny, what's your most exciting or fun story about Jerome? What's your favorite story about Jerome?
To go out and play where it was you didn't have to worry about criminals. You didn't have to go out there where somebody was gonna come and molest you. You wouldn't have to worry if somebody was gonna shoot you. You could play out on the sidewalks. We built coaster wagons. We made them ourselves out of 2x4s and rubber tires. They were called a coaster. Then we had bicycles. We used to ride them.
You ever coast
Where did you come from?
Where did I come from?
Yeah.
Well, I was born in Virginia and I grew up in Florida, and then I moved to Phoenix with my parents and
See?
traveled around a little bit as a musician, and then I ended up here 25 years ago.
That's good.
Yeah, I've known you about that long.
That's right. New England was the first place of the United States, and New York. New York, that's where they all came. And then there was a lot of English people in Massachusetts, Delaware, all over those states. And then they started moving west during the gold rush in California. There was a big gold rush during territorial days.
When you were little, Danny and Jerome, did you ever ride your bicycle to Clarkdale?
I did one time. One time. Huh?
Did you ride it back again?
I had to walk it back because I was kind of pooped to pedal it back up.
Yeah, I'll bet.
That
But
must have been a-
John Dempsey he did it all the time.
I know, he was pretty amazing, huh? He would go all the way down and then,
And then he would
Drive
come
all the way
he
up?
would come back.
yeah,
Yeah.
might be slow, but
He was
he'd
slow.
make it all the way. Well, that must have been a pretty scary ride as a kid on a bike going down that hill.
I don't know.
Hey, Danny, we're sitting here on East Avenue right now. They tell me this used to be the main drive into town. Is that true?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know.
well, that was just a personal question.
And like I told you, if you go to a receptionist doctor, if you have an appointment, and you try to go in there and get something done, you can't get nothing done with them. Because most of these people, they're trying to do professional work, and they're nothing but amateur people. I'm a guy, I don't try to be something that I'm not. I'm an average person. Average. And I don't try to pull wool over somebody's eyes. I'm a true guy. True.
Hey, Danny, do you remember who lived in this house?
Joe and the lady Peckridge.
Did you ever come over here and visit?
Yes, I did.
No kidding.
That's right.
Yeah.
They would give me a Coca-Cola, which was in a little bottle, a 6-ounce bottle.
This is when you were a kid?
Yes. They would give me cookies, candy, and stuff like that.
Now, did Joe
Because they loved children.
Who did you play with over here?
Nobody. They didn't have no kids.
Oh,
Their kids were already grown up. One was a dentist. The other one, like I told you, he had the theater up there in Jerome, the movie house. They were old people.
did you know anybody else here on East Street?
Sure. I knew the Selna family. They had the grocery stores. Joe and Mario Selna. They were from California. Selna.
Yeah, the Selma house is right
That's
over
right.
there. Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, did Joe Peckridge, did he work for the mine? Someone told me he was an engineer.
Joe Peckridge was a dentist.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a dentist.
Huh.
His other brother was a dentist. His name was Ray Peckridge. He was down in Cottonwood. Ray. They didn't have no daughters. They had all boys. 7 boys. The old Peckridges had 7 boys. I didn't know some of them. Now there was another one. I can't think of his name. He went to California. He worked for the government in Los Angeles, California. But they didn't have no girls.
Danny, did you know the Tamale Ladies?
Sure I did. There was 2 of them.
Yeah?
I used to buy tamales from them.
Yeah?
They died. They were 100 and some years old.
Yeah.
They lived down on the corner, down by the high school.
And they were still making tamales.
Oh, heck yeah.
Even late into their lives.
Do you remember the little grocery store?
Oh, there was a lot of them.
On the curve where the art
Yeah.
gallery is now?
Oh,
that
yeah.
little grocery store that had the 2 doors that you walk in?
That's right.
And you could buy tamales there?
You guys will never realize, a lot of people won't realize what we did. And they're trying to piece it together, and no matter what I tell them, they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. They were born in the city. City people. People are not friendly in a city. They don't talk to you in a city. They just go about their business like a bunch of ants. You know how ants are? Little ants?
Yeah, yeah.
They're not friendly people.
No.
I grew up with a friendly country. It was prosperous. You know what I mean?
I know. Did you used to go to the English kitchen for a burger?
There were Chinamen there.
Yeah?
Chinamen.
Do you remember that?
Hell yeah. How the hell could I forget it? I served in the military in Europe. My intellect, IQ, when they tested me every 3 months, was 174, which is a high rating. I had a very high score. I was in the Special Forces, in the Airborne. That was good.
So what did you have at the English kitchen? What did you have to eat there?
Regular food.
Not Chinese food?
Well, sometimes Chinese food, soup.
Yeah.
We had pork chops, mashed potatoes, green beans, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They cook regular, they cook for the miners, mining people.
Do you remember any of the other restaurants in town?
Sure, there was, you know where Tracy's got his business?
Yeah.
There was a cafe there. It was called the New York Cafe. They served pancakes, eggs, regular breakfast. They had a round counter in there. It was called the New York Cafe. We used to go in there and eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a grocery store there, wasn't there?
Down
Next
on
door?
the side.
Yeah.
You can never make this place what it was. Nobody can. That was a different culture of people. They were cultural people, and they were what I call no-nonsense people. They didn't put up with a lot of bullshit like they're doing today. We got lawyers, we got judges today. You could pay them off if you got a lot of money. Look at O.J. Simpson, that ball player. Did you know him?
Yep.
He killed his wife and a boy. He killed them. And a lawyer got him off. He was one of the richest ball players in America. He killed them. And he went scot-free because he had a lot of money. Yeah, he killed her. He cut her throat from one side of the other, and she bled to death. Now see what he was? Because he has a lot of money. O.J. Simpson. They used to call him Orange Juice. That was his nickname. I used to like him when he played football But after what he did, I don't have no use for people like that. Nope.
Do you remember the gas station at the
Yeah.
end of town?
Yeah, where the grapes is.
Yeah, that's where the Shell station was.
I worked there.
Oh, there was a gas station there.
Yeah, I pumped gas.
That'd be pretty handy today.
Yeah. You pumped gas there, huh?
Yeah, they had a bowl up on top, and then you pumped it into the Model T cars and the Model A's.
That was one of your first jobs?
Well, I had a lot of jobs.
How much money did they pay you?
Pretty good money. I made about $20 every morning. $20. And I used to save a little money. A lot of kids were jealous of me because I used to buy good things. I took care of myself. They said, "How do you do all that?" I said, "Because when God gave me brains, I paid attention."
Did you ever have a car?
I had a lot of cars.
Did you? What was your first car?
A 50 Ford. And then I had a Thunderbird sports car in 1959 when I worked as a locomotive engineer at Oahu. I bought a Thunderbird. You know what they are?
Oh yeah, nice
They're
car.
classic cars.
Yeah,
I paid cash for it.
yeah.
I didn't believe in going to the bank. I had money. But it didn't go to my head.
Went to your car.
You'll never make this place like it was. I don't give a damn what you do. You're not going to make it like it was.
Do you remember the old gas station down in the Gulch?
Yeah, the Lozanos had it.
That's a 24-hour station down there, huh?
Yeah. There was one up on Mingus Mountain, up on top.
Yeah.
They had a snack bar and a bar. And then we used to go sleigh riding up on Mingus with our sleds when it snowed. Yeah.
You didn't work down in the Gulch, did you?
I never did.
What was your next job after the gas station?
I worked for Harry Dykus, where there's a little antique store by the Spook Hall. They sold Studebakers. I worked in there to clean them up and wash the Studebakers. His name was Harry Dykus.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Was he good to you?
you better believe it.
Yeah.
They were from Missouri.
Did he let you drive the Studebaker?
I was too young to drive.
Oh,
I took care of the cars.
yeah.
Wax them, polish them, and vacuum them out, clean them up. He said, "You're a good guy to do that. I'm going to keep you."
Yeah. Where'd you work after that?
Oh, at a grocery store, the Miller store. Like I told you, it was up in town.
Mm-hmm.
When you went in, they had a revolving door. It revolved when you went into the market. I worked as a carry-out boy with the groceries. I sacked groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked on the truck, the delivery truck. We used to deliver groceries to the houses for the people. You can never be what I was. No way.
Did you ever deliver milk?
I did one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Jerome Dairy down in Cottonwood. It was called the Jerome Dairy.
So you had a lot of jobs up here.
Many. I had many things to do. And I didn't tell somebody that I was going to do it for them, and then I didn't do it. I didn't promise them anything. Today they promise you something, and they're good for nothing. That's right. They don't care. I asked them today, I said, "What's in it for you?" when they ask me something. I said, what are you looking for? I said, what are you looking for? I said, go out and live your life, and that's what you got to do. Because if you don't, you're going to end up in a hell of a situation. I'm going to tell you. Yeah. Now we went with the country of China to do business with them. I don't want to support China because what we used to buy, they had what they call quality control when they made it, like Sears Roebuck. You remember Sears? The stores of Sears Roebuck?
Yeah.
If you broke a tool, which was called a craftsman tool, they would give you another one for nothing. They were good people.
Do you remember Penny's?
Yes,
That was
I
in
used-
Jerome, wasn't it? Huh?
I used to buy clothes over there, where the Spook Hall is.
Yeah.
J.C. Penney.
Mm-hmm. Who worked over there?
Different people.
Any of your friends?
Oh, yeah. People are very insecure today. They're very insecure, and they're unhappy. I say, go out and make something of yourself. Now, how the hell are you going to do something if you're an alcoholic? You can't do nothing. Your brain goes rum-dum. I said, get the hell away from the liquor. Don't drink so much. Don't smoke so much. I can't help it. I said, goodbye.
Hey, Danny, did you ever go out to the Little Daisy and play as a kid out there?
I did for a while at the Daisy place.
Yeah? Do you remember that?
Sure.
That was the old hotel, wasn't it?
There was a big hotel,
Yeah.
and some guy bought it later on.
Mm-hmm.
He made condos out of it.
What was inside? Do you remember when you were as a kid?
At the hotel?
Yeah, when it was abandoned, nobody was there.
It was just ruins. The structure.
Had they stripped it out then?
Yeah, a bunch of guys came and stole everything
Yeah.
and took it to Flagstaff and Prescott.
Is that the same thing that happened up at the hospital up there?
They were
Top business?
thieves. You know what a thief is? A thief. They just took it and got the heck out of here.
You used to play up at the hospital too, didn't you?
I
The old-
did. I played in the elevator.
You were born in that hospital, Danny?
No, I was born in my home.
Oh, no kidding.
They had country doctors like Donald Walsh's father. He came from Canada. He was born in Toronto, Canada. He used to come and deliver the kids in the home.
All your brothers and sisters were born at home.
Right. Just one brother. 4 sisters.
Well, I'm bringing it back, Danny. My daughter was born right here where we're sitting.
That's right. That's right.
Had a midwife.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We did too. But just with me, that's all in the past. That's the past. I look to the future. Always look ahead. And stop. Whatever you do, stop, look, and listen.
Yeah. Well, Danny, if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
You know what Benjamin Franklin? You know who Benjamin Franklin was?
Of course.
Yeah,
He
we
said,
all. Yeah,
a fool and his money soon shall part.
that's right.
That's what he said. Those guys were smart.
Tell me about the hospital. What you remember up there? What you guys did? You rode the elevator.
Just like everywhere else.
Was it closed down when you were up there?
Yes.
And you got inside, huh?
Andy Peterson used to take care of all that.
Yeah.
He was an agent
Uh-huh.
for Phelps Dodge. And like I tell people today, they're all looking for what's in it for them. That's what they want. They don't have a heart.
What'd you find up in the hospital there?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I used to go up to the maternity ward where the women had babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot, they call it maternity. I would go up there and see the women. Yeah.
I have vague memories of that myself,
Really?
having been born there.
Having been
That's right.
Well, Danny, we've been going at it for an hour and a half,
Hell,
probably
I
a little more.
could talk to
You
you
could
forever.
talk to you forever.
I talk to people today and nobody listens.
You have a lot of stories about Jerome, Danny.
You sure
About
do.
everywhere. I love people. I love people. I don't try to take something what I could get out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. That's how I was taught. Yeah, there's a lot of people today, I tell you, they're good for nothing. They're not good for themselves.
What are they lacking?
Brains. They don't have a good mind because I told you. They're on alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs. That's what they're doing, and that's their business. I don't try to tell people what to do because I'm not a judge. God is the judge. See? I don't tell you what to do, but if you don't do something for me and we get together and it don't work out, I said, come on, let's do it a right way. Let's not do it half-assed. That's how I talk. I tell a lot of people today when they sit around, I said, get your finger out of your ass. That's how I tell them, because I was a sergeant.
Is that what you told him?
You're goddamn right. I get tired of people trying to lead me around. They try to look around and try to find out what I'm doing. I said, that's none of your business. I said, if I want to tell you, I'm going to tell you. If I don't want to tell you, I'm not going to tell you. I made good of myself. Yeah. And not with alcohol and drugs and smoking. You know how much they charge for a pack of cigarettes at the bar? Between $8 and $12 a pack.
Yeah.
That's poison. You got to be secure in your ways. That's right. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. See, you're a painter by trade, and then you do this with the people.
Well, we want to know, make sure all the people get the story, the real story of Jerome, how it used to be. That's why you're here,
Like I told you,
to tell us how it used
a
to be
lot
in
of
Jerome.
people I talk to, they don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well,
They
that's
don't know.
we want to know what it was like when
Now,
we were
you
kids.
guys probably know, but a lot of people don't know. I'm talking in the wind. And you're not supposed to judge people. They're going to do what they're going to do, regardless.
Danny, were you here when they had the golf course in Jerome?
Clarkdale.
They had it in
There was a little golf course up around across from Jerry's bar.
Yeah.
where the park is today.
Yes, there was a little
A mini
mini golf course.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, that was way before my time.
Okay.
My dad went there.
Mm-hmm.
It was called the Rinky Dink.
That's right.
Rinky Dink.
So you went to Clarkdale.
Yes,
What was in Clarkdale?
the smelter for Phelps Dodge.
Mm-hmm. Did you have friends down there?
A few.
Mm-hmm.
Who were your best friends up here in Jerome when you were a kid?
You wouldn't even knew them, 'cause they died. They died before you got here. I had a friend, his name was Clint Wager. He had, the end of the time, he had 3 paint stores. He had one in Cottonwood, he had one in Camp Verde, and he had one in Sedona. His father was an English teacher in school, at the high school. I ran around with him. We called him Pumpkin, 'cause he had a face like a pumpkin. See, we had nicknames, but we didn't get offended like they do today.
No. What was your nickname?
Elephant, because I had big ears. We didn't get offended.
No?
People today say, "Oh, you offended me." I say, "Ah, come on. They're sissies." We were men. I was a man at 14 and 16 years old.
Who were your other friends that had nicknames?
Jerry Voynick,
Oh, no kidding.
we called him Porky, because he had a big belly.
Yeah?
He was a center on the football team.
Yeah?
And there was Andy. There was a bunch of Mexican guys. They're gone. They died. A lot of people are gone. They're in heaven because we had a good way. I can't give anybody anything to do it because you got to do it for yourself. That's my motto.
Yeah.
But I told you, people, they're not able to do it. And like I told you, if you make a blister, you gotta sit on it. That's the way I taught.
Did you go to Cottonwood?
All the time.
Mm-hmm. What was down in Cottonwood?
Stores, businesses. At one time, there was a lot of cowboys down there. Cowboys.
Yeah?
Camp Verde, Cornville. They had cowboys. And if you hurt their horse, they had a horse, they loved that horse. That was theirs. A cowboy.
You never had a girlfriend down there?
Sure, a lot of them.
Yeah?
I had a lot of people. Yeah. Well, when are you going to come up and paint my house?
Probably in about a month.
That's good.
Yeah, we got to fix something. There's some old boards that are moving around in the sun and they cracked the paint.
Well, what they changed that redwood, it was old. They put what you call spruce siding. And I didn't like it because that spruce has a lot of knots in it.
Yeah.
Redwood is a good wood, but it's very expensive. Very expensive to buy today, redwood.
Did your dad build that house?
No, I told you,
Yeah.
it was built by the United Very contractors
But then he built the second story?
downstairs.
Okay.
You'll never make this place. I don't give a damn what you do. You could do, I wish you a lot of luck. It'll never be what it was.
That's for sure.
That's
maybe,
for sure.
Who knows? Maybe they'll open the mine back up.
Never. They'll never open it again.
Well, Danny, I want to thank you very much for
You're
coming
welcome.
down today.
You're
It's
welcome.
been pretty enlightening for me, and I want to thank you too, Don, for
That's
for
right.
coming and helping out.
Thank you, Michael.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, if you could put a message in a bottle and send it to the people of Jerome in the future, 50 years from now, what would you tell them?
Do the best you can. Whatever
That's-
you foretake, don't wait for the next person to do it for you.
Sounds like good advice, Danny.
Do the best you can.
Well, God bless you, sir, and thanks again.
That's right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Okay.